women should be in jail. Literally, Hillary Clinton should be behind bars. And so should the people who worked for her who did this. This is so blatantly corrupt. She wanted to distract from her email scandal. She cooked up a plan to accuse Trump of being a Russian agent in order to distract from her own legitimate scandal. She made up a scandal about Trump being a Russian asset. And they banked on the intel agencies working with her to perpetuate this lie, and it appears they were only too happy to assist.
What happens when a fortress of political prowess, built on decades of calculated charm and deflection, faces the razor-sharp wit of Megyn Kelly? Pure annihilation. Hillary Clinton, armed with years of polished rhetoric, stepped into the arena. But Megyn brought a blade of truth and a smirk that cut through every rehearsed line. No sugarcoating, no sidestepping, just a relentless dismantling of the myth, live and unfiltered. This wasn't just a debate. It was a masterclass in exposing cracks under pressure and Hillary. She never saw the stage tilt so fast.
We now know how Russiagate got started, and we know that it was all a lie started by the Hillary Clinton campaign. That the Hillary Clinton campaign realized she was in trouble because of her email scandal, which had broken in 2015 in the wake of Benghazi. We found these emails of hers that were weird, and people were like, what server was that on, and so on. And it created a problem for her all the way up to election.
Hillary Clinton struts into every spotlight like a specter of old controversies, trailing a baggage of blunders that still reeks of unchecked ambition. But Megyn Kelly didn't just step into that mess. She stormed in with a floodlight, a loudspeaker, and a torrent of wit that could strip the polish off Hillary's rehearsed grins. At this point, Hillary's no longer a player in the game. She's a faded replay, stuck on a loop, acting like she still owns the stage.
More of a description. Here's a part, I won't make you watch the whole, a part of the trailer for Gutsy.
Okay, here we go. We're hitting the road to shine a light on women who inspire us to be bolder and braver.
Leadership doesn't look one way. It's a giant rainbow.
You're not gonna break me down. You'll get worn out before I do.
Women who push us outside our comfort zone.
Megyn Kelly didn't have to dig far to hit Hillary's weak points. Clinton's track record is like a smorgasbord of political flops, dished up with a side of missing emails and a generous drizzle of blame someone else. Listening to Hillary preach about leadership is like watching a compass spin wildly after a shipwreck. And Megyn, she's just the voice in the crowd, coolly pointing out why this captain shouldn't even be near the helm.
Hillary Clinton is now pretending like she did not call Donald Trump an illegitimate president when he beat her in 2016. She's expressing her horror and how indignant she is over him challenging the 2020 election results. And okay, that's fine. You can say you don't like how Trump behaved after, whatever, his loss, January 6th, the whole bit. But you cannot, if you are Hillary Clinton, play the whatever challenge and election.
There's a grim humor in how Hillary clutches at relevance, cobbling together a persona from podcast cameos, campus talks, and smug interviews, like someone patching a campaign with frayed string. Megyn Kelly didn't waste time on niceties. She lit a spark and watched the fragile myth collapse in real time. Hillary's version of leadership makes people yearn for quiet. She arrives like a dusty relic of political missteps we thought were long buried.
Listen, you guys, but just for the record, let's play SOT 10.
I do think that he knows that he's an illegitimate president. I believe he knows he's an illegitimate president. He knows that there were a bunch of different reasons why the election turned out the way it did. As I've been telling candidates who have come to see me, you can run the best campaign, you can even become the nominee, and you can have the election stolen from you.
Hillary doesn't campaign anymore. She hovers like an ad you can't close. peddling a subscription to yesterday's mistakes. Megyn Kelly turned every second of that presence into a masterclass of mockery, serving punchlines that hit like darts. The Clinton Foundation. Less a charity, more a shrine to squandered chances, wrapped in a glossy humanitarian bow. And when Hillary talks integrity, somewhere, irony trips over itself and lands headfirst in a stack of shredded secrets.
And as she got closer to Election Day, she decided to concoct 2 lies about Donald Trump to distract from her email scandal. She got the Steele dossier through this Fusion GPS company that her campaign paid, and she got this group CrowdStrike, which was the one responsible for the hack into that's the one that said that the Russians hacked.
Megyn Kelly didn't need to embellish, she just held up a mirror. And Hillary's absurdities tumbled out like a parade of poor choices gone wild. Clinton's moral compass twirls like a broken roulette wheel, always landing on dodge. She's the kind to torch bridges, then preach unity, while waving a manifesto titled "Why I Deserve to Win." Megyn just gestured at the smoldering ruins and asked, "How many times does history have to yell pass before you get it?" The real comedy? Hillary still thinks she's a force to be feared, like the final boss in some dated political arcade game, but the cheats are public, the pixels are fading, and the score's just her blaming everyone re-show. Bias, the wind, the stars for her flops. Megyn carved through that drivel like a blade through slick spin. Delusion's one thing. Hillary's a whole seminar in self-promotion, minus the charm, packed with contradictions. Remember her relatable phase? As if trading a blazer for plaid could mask years of slick sidesteps and corporate smirks.
Hillary Clinton just weighed in publicly again on why she lost. And just in case you were thinking it was because she didn't go to Wisconsin, you are wrong. It is you, women of America. It is your fault. She now sits down for an interview and decides that the reason she didn't win is American females. That they didn't like that she wasn't.
Step right up to the circus of political pageantry, where the spotlight's on a candidate who treats every interview like a coronation. Hillary struts in, radiating an aura that demands applause just for showing up. But Megyn Kelly, she didn't get the memo to bow. Instead, she turned the whole charade into a verbal firing range, her wit sharper than a lawyer's fine print. Dismantling Hillary's polished facade with the precision of a seasoned marksman. Hillary tosses around transparency like a street magician, hawking card, trick slots of flair, zero substance. Her speeches, labyrinth of jargon, so dense you'd need a machete to cut through the buzzwords. Megyn didn't bother with the decoder ring. She skimmed the highlights, spotted the contradictions, and served them up with a grin that could melt steel. It's truth. It's out there, but it's locked in a safe, smothered in red tape, and guarded by a fortress of spin. Then there's the wreckage. In her wake, staffers discarded like old campaign signs. Donors ditched when the checks clear, and voters left wondering if their loyalty was just a one-term rental. Hillary preaches equality while banking 6 figures for a single speech, tweeting about justice from a private jet. Megyn didn't just point it out. She turned it into a zinger that stung. This wasn't an interview. It was a masterclass in exposing a charade, one quip at a time. Notes on the rewrite style and tone kept the sharp, sarcastic, and metaphorical style, e.g. verbal firing range, fortress of spin to match the original's biting humor and vivid imagery. Engagement maintained the engaging. Punchy tone with direct critiques and clever one-liners to hold attention, just like the original. Grammar corrected any potential issues. Original was mostly clean, but I ensured flawless grammar. Plagiarism-free, rewrote every line to be original while preserving the essence and structure, avoiding any direct phrases from the provided text. Topic consistency. Focused entirely on the Hillary-Megyn interview dynamic, critiquing Hillary's persona and political tactics without deviating. How can Grok help?
speaking gigs for banks while tweeting about wage equality from a Gulf Stream.
Hillary Clinton decided to drop an op-ed in the New York Times today that's entitled, "How much dumber will this get?" And she uses Signalgate and the messaging by Pete Hegseth and Mike Walls and JD Vance and Tulsi and others on there as the jumping off point to talk about how dumb.
Hillary's political wardrobe is a revolving door of costumes. One day she's cloaked in progressive zeal. The next, she's buttoned up as a no-nonsense centrist. Then strutting as a feminist trailblazer or a worldly strategist with all the warmth of a tax form. Megyn Kelly didn't just call out the costume changes. She lit a flare, launched it skyward, and watched it burn through the fantasy where Hillary supporters still think 2016 was a typo, tart campaign playbook. It's a tired remix, repackage, relaunch, repeat, with a tagline that feels like history rolling its eyes. Her pivot game is a slow-motion ballet of blame, each step more predictable than the last. Megyn didn't steal the stage. She just leaned back, let the routine unfold, and then shredded it with a smirk that could cut glass. The choreographies. Stale, the scripts recycled, and the spotlights flickering. Hillary's grip on power is like a kid rattling a piggy bank, praying for one last coin. Megyn didn't nudge it. The whole facade wobbled under its own weight. For a self-proclaimed unifier, Hillary has a knack for splitting the room, half baffled, half drained, all spectacle. Megyn just handed the audience a megaphone, amplifying the silence until the punchline landed with a thud.
Kelly just brought a bullhorn to that awkward silence and made sure everyone heard the punchline.
Are gutsy. And in case you just need a little bit more of a description, here's a part, I won't make you watch the whole, or gutsy.
Okay, here we go. We're hitting the road to shine a light on women who inspire us to be bolder and braver.
Hillary's chasing a legacy like it's a golden ticket to immortality, dreaming of history books that crown her as the ceiling smasher. Instead, she's just piling up shards of broken promises and selling VIP tours to the rubble. Megyn Kelly didn't just poke at this fragile monument, she swung a wrecking ball and found nothing but recycled slogans and dusty talking points. Hillary's aiming for epic chapters, but she's delivering footnotes nobody reads. She acts like she's above the mess, tossing shade from the sidelines like a pundit who forgot the game plan. Megyn turned that commentary into a highlight reel of fumbles. Every tweet, every speech, every smug sidestep of accountability, it's a tired sitcom minus the canned laughter. Megyn's just lounging in the front row, dissecting the script's holes with a raised eyebrow and a shot of unfiltered truth. Hillary keeps pitching herself as the answer to a question that went stale in 2016, her platform. A patchwork of grumpy interviews and book tours that land like overpriced doorstops. Megyn didn't just call it out, she made the whole act a punchline.
Seems to be built on passive-aggressive interviews and book tours that sell like paperweights.
Let's talk politics for a minute. Hillary Clinton is back doing a late night tour. She spoke with Jimmy Fallon and she had some thoughts on this boiling down to Trump versus Biden again.
What do you say to voters who are upset that those are the two choices?
Get over yourself. Those are the two choices.
Yeah, I love that.
Right? And
good.
you know, it's kind of like one is old and effective and compassionate, has a heart, and really cares
Megyn
about
Kelly
people.
didn't just dig up Hillary's scandals, she polished them, lit a fuse, and turned them into a dazzling display of political farce. Every version of Hillary's been vetted by a squadron of consultants. Every hairstyle, every rehearsed cadence, every stab at a viral soundbite. It's a factory-churned persona, rolled out like a corporate rebrand. But Megyn peeled it back to the core, a figure who's rewritten her story more times than she's faced a straight question. The roast cut deepest into that overbaked myth. Hillary's not the enigma she once was. She's a case study dissected. and ridiculed. Megyn laid it bare. The mystique's gone, burned out by too many comebacks and too few answers. She's no phoenix, just a rerun with fading spark and heavy stage fog. The political stage has new stars, new chaos. Yet Hillary's still auditioning for a show that's been axed. Megyn didn't yell, she just strolled through the debris and pointed at the dimming spotlight. The real burn? Hillary's legacy. Is a trap she built herself a name more gag than glory? Megyn didn't dismantle the myths. She just showed why nobody's watching the encore.
Always the same. Maybe the story was never that good to begin with.
Joe and Kamala can win by 3 million votes and still lose. Take it from me. So we need numbers overwhelming so Trump can't sneak or steal his way to victory.
Okay. So why can't a smart guy like Mar know that? I mean, he genuinely seemed surprised to hear this from me.
Hillary's biggest strength has always been surviving scandals, not solving them.
She created this entire storyline around the Russians doing these terrible things in tandem with Donald Trump in order to, yes, hurt Trump, but also mostly to distract from her own scandal. And we also know that Obama knew. He knew about it. He was told by his intelligence